So what's been happening in the tank this week? For TikTok, for a start, I've decided I wanted to do like a weekly video rather than just all the short videos. The short videos are good fun and stuff, but I thought it'd be better to do a sort of weekly catch-up video, just have a chat about the tank and what's going on, see if people are interested in that sort of thing. So this week the main thing is still focusing on this Syria Topora, which ejected a bunch of its oh hi everyone, thanks for joining, which ejected a bunch of its polyps, and trying to figure out why that was and fix it. So working on alkalinity. I've tested everything really, but alkalinity seems to be the one that's causing the problem. Well, maybe not, but it is quite low, so I'm trying to, what's that say? I cannot hear at the moment, but I'm here. Can no one hear me? I don't know. Anyway, hi, anyway. Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's alkalinity. People have all sorts of different views on that sort of thing, whether or not you need to chase the numbers, and I'm very much against chasing the numbers. I'd sort of just leave it to get on with itself. That's why I use natural seawater, because well, it's the sea and these things live in the sea, although they don't necessarily live in the sea in Scotland, which is maybe where I'm going wrong. So anyway, yeah, it seems to be recovering pretty well, and everything else is looking healthy. This leather guy here is displaying his polyps quite happily now that he's up there. The other thing this week though was getting the toadstool coral, to stand up and face the way I wanted it to face, and I did that using this test tube. It is a test tube, it's from the test kit, and oh wow, thanks for the gifts. I was not expecting that. I appreciate that, thank you very much. Yeah, so using the test tube to push this thing forward. I also do like bonsais, and when you're trying to get a bonsai to face, or a tree to face a particular way, you can wire it. You couldn't really wire this, so I've just sort of made it have a bit of a pain in its side to push it forward. Maybe not pain, that's probably the wrong word, but to push it forward, and it's sort of tilted over to this side now, but you can see it a lot better. It looks pretty cool there. So that's worked pretty well. I'm just trying to get, I bought these things off of eBay. I don't usually do like live food or anything like that, but I've noticed there's a lot of amphipods in here, and I just wanted to make sure everyone was happy, so I've bought some new pods. We'll just get it open. It says it's from Ashby Aquatics. I'm keeping it down here because it's got my address on it. Here we go, copepods. So I bought these just to give a wee bit of a boost. They're still alive, you can see there. They're swimming about quite happily. So when we put these, I'll put these in a minute, and I'm sure the fish will go absolutely bonkers to eat them. But hopefully, what we're hoping is that some of them will get into the rocks and they'll multiply in there. And having these sorts of things in the aquarium just gives you a wee bit more biodiversity. And I'm sure there's probably plenty in there anyway. But we'll see. Do you dose? What do you dose with? If so, can you show bottle? No, I don't dose, but I do use natural seawater, which in my mind is the equivalent of dosing. But because it's got all like the bacteria and stuff in it that you want, sort of beneficial bacteria from the ocean in there, so these sorts of things like the bacteria, I don't know if you can see at the back there's a bit of a dino string going, and the bacteria that comes in the seawater will help to get rid of that sort of thing, because it competes for the space competes for the food basically. Everything needs to eat something, so that's what I'm using for that. This was from Ashby Pets and Aquatics on eBay. I'm going to add it in just a minute. I'm always a bit wary actually of adding the water that comes in these things, because you don't know what this water is like. I've got 2 of them. I might test the water on one of them in another video and see how that goes. It's kind of fun doing these TikTok videos. It's like my 2 favourite things, making videos and dealing with a fish tank. So TikTok is kind of good for making those 2 things come together. So someone has to do a dose. I don't dose all the time, but I do use pH buffer because of the alkalinity of the seawater being too low. I'll add this in, just a scoop of this when I'm doing a water change, and that brings the alkalinity up and makes sure the pH is right, which is quite important for everything really. So that's the only thing I add, that and food and natural seawater. What else is there happening in here this week? These new zoas that I got, they are doing pretty well. There's a few new heads, and this one with the, I forget what they're called, dragon eyes or something like that, they're moved onto the rock, so there's new ones moved onto the rock there, so that's good. Apart from that, there's nothing really that interesting happening this week, but that's enough actually. That's plenty. Hygiene, yeah, that's plenty going on at the moment. So they've not been fed today. I've started feeding more often actually. I usually get a bit worried about feeding too much in case of like algae blooms and things like that, but I've decided feeding and keeping the light spectrum a bit more varied is probably a good idea. So before I just had it on blue all the time, but it doesn't really appeal to me. Like, it looks good kinda, and allegedly it's good for the corals, but one of the things, people have it on the blue to try and stop algae growing in the tank, but when you actually think about it, all these corals have what's called zooxanthellae algae, which lives in the polyps, and you need to help that to grow, and I'm not sure that just having the blue light would help, because that's not how it is in the wild, is it? Like in the sea, they don't just have blue light. So trying to change it, let's see if it makes any difference. This guy definitely looks a bit, well, his polyps look a bit happier, but he's fell over and he's not very happy at all just now. So I'm going to add these copepods, and then we'll see if the fish go bananas for them, and if any make it into the rocks. We'll try and see. I'll move you a bit closer. Right, so we'll just add in these copepods, which came from Ashby Pets and Aquatics on eBay. Probably a UK thing, so if you're in like America or that, you'll have a different supplier. Right, here we go. The fish are going to get these immediately. There you go, kind of like live food. The fish are a bit taken aback because it was a bit cold. You can still see them floating about, swimming about here. Oh, he got that. Yep, he's eating them now. I think there's some definitely made it into the rocks though, so that's perfect. They're still floating about. Come on guys, get in the rocks. I don't know how long these last for. There's another packet in there, so I'll stick it in the fridge. Is that where you're supposed to put it? Yeah, and I might try and save some of this water. Only need 4 millilitres of water. If I save some of this water and do a test on it, hopefully, well, it can't be sterile because they wouldn't live in the sterile water, would they? So we'll see what's in the water. That'll be a good thing to see what I've just poured into my tank, but maybe I should do things like that first. I know people who are quite a bit pedantic about that and they wouldn't add anything in that they hadn't tested first. There's still loads of them floating about in here, swimming about, twitching. None of the corals seem to have grabbed any because they're all still looking fairly closed up. Well, that's all I've got for this week. Thank you for viewing, and I'll actually download this video and stick it up on my page, and then I'll probably do that every week if I get the chance, just to have a little review of the tank, make a longer video and see how that goes. In the meantime, I'll keep posting little videos, but yeah, I think a longer video. Hi Mela. Yeah, I think the longer videos are well, I don't know, there's more to be had, isn't there, like rather than just putting a short video up of like a funny little cut about doing the water change or feeding the fish, getting a bit more information, and hopefully I can help someone out with some more information as we go on. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time